Hello and welcome to the Great Cosmic Shift. This is Cyrus, and today's video we are talking once again about false light teachings and why we have to be so careful of them as we evolve in a spiritual area. This is the New Age movement. This is the trite information on the internet and why we need to be vigilant. So this channel began as Afterlife Topics. It's a bigger channel I have. I was hacked last year, so I was cut out of my Google account. Why? Well, let's just say I tend to make enemies on here, right? There's been issues lately with people leaving the community and, people who I used to work with and do a lot of amazing channeling, amazing telepathy work with who just cut out. And a lot of this is because of dividing lines, because I stand up against certain narratives that limit our sense of self-responsibility in life. We're going to look at that again so that we can really try to be aware, especially on a collective psyche level, about changes as they come, as they manifest. Okay, so I also want to talk a little bit about my communications. So my communications are basically what led me to where I am right now. So where I am right now is this. First of all, I'm up against this extraordinary challenge where, I'm communicating to a team that tells me that the souls on Earth are so fickle. At times, they would see me wearing my black leather jacket, so I'm going to take it off. And they might think that, Cyrus is in league with, I don't know, some negative force because people who wear black leather jackets. This is how shallow and trite and superficial so much of Earth philosophy has become, right? It's like people don't see the heart, people don't see the soul, and people disconnect. And then they also begin to revere spiritual gurus and teachers, and they idolize extraterrestrial communications and things of that nature without applying any heart behind it. And this has been a big issue so far that it's caused so much controversy, at least around my community and with people in my community who are trying so hard sometimes to rationalize a lot of these teachings that are so popular in the New York Times bestseller list and things like that. Basically, what's going on is that my journey led me up to a point where we are right now. And this journey involved trying to understand what is our cosmic destiny, where do we go when we die, the astral plane, out-of-body experiences, the consciousness studies, consciousness science, all of it, which were my first couple of books. Now I'm writing The Cosmic Shift of Mankind because a couple of years ago I activated through training myself to become a clairaudient telepath, and I began communications with many of the same groups that people communicate with online because they are very accessible. I mean the Arcturian High Council, the Archangelic Order, the Lyrans, they communicate a little bit with the Pleiadians, many groups, and they often have a very similar message. And that message is that the messages that they come across, that they get across to planet Earth, gets watered down and dumbed down because of a psychological propensity for people to fall into what they call the false light teachings, which are watered down, superficial versions of their messages, which, the essence of so many things that they talk about is true. And I'm going to talk about a post I made and also somebody else in my community named Vincent who makes some very great points as well. So I'm going to highlight this post as well. A lot to talk about. I just want to mention for a moment a little bit about my team and who I communicate to. This is the thing about the Archangelic Order, because many people communicate to them on the internet. If you go through mythology, you can find references to Ariel and Jophiel, Michael and Gabriel, and a host of others. Zuriel. You can go on Wikipedia and type in archangels. Go on Wikipedia and look it up, and you'll find that so many of these groups, so many of them, are actually, so many of these angels, some of these characters in history are actually real. These are not supposed to be mythologies, and I'm told in ancient times, for example, for the things found in the ancient Kabbalah, visitations with angels from the Old Testament, the New Testament, I say the Quran to be more precise, Gabriel. So many of these communications are real, and it's with the Archangelic Order, right? And when you begin communicating with them, you will come to find that when it's a direct communication, they are not shallow, they are not trite. Sometimes on the internet, their message comes across this way only because the channels themselves sometimes are having a difficult time getting the full message across, and they have a difficult time getting an audience to listen if the message is anything else but, let's just say, lovey-dovey, we're all, this is what we can expect in the month of March. Everyone's going to be more interconnected, and we're moving into the age of Aquarius. It's like a rehash of the same message again and again, because people do not want to hear the facts. So I come along, I begin direct clairaudient telepathic communications where I can dictate precisely what they are communicating. And this is what ends up causing a little bit of division, because it turns out some of their precise opinions are in conflict to what they call the false light teachings, which are found especially on the New Age aisle. How come in all my work dating back years, including my first book in 2015, I was always calling out this type of material? Because I was being influenced by teams of spirit guides, which includes especially guides from the higher cosmos. What is the higher cosmos? The higher cosmos is, in fact, our cosmic destiny. It's known as the supernal reality, because it's not our world. It's a different reality where the very experience of life is on a higher majestic element beyond our imaginations. But it is not the astral plane. And they reinforce this again and again. When we talk about the astral plane, we are talking about Bardo states. Bardo states. A Bardo state is, in fact, a mental reality. And these mental realities are not the places we want to go to when we pass away. We want to go into supernal realities, which are still physical, which means they are higher level, higher density, but physical realities, where you can still take a job, go to work, live on a planet, go to a beach. The Archangelic Order have physical human forms where they are themselves eons upon eons upon eons of years old. But right away, this conflicts with this message that gets out across the internet, which is that there is no physical existence beyond the earth, and that we must worship the astral plane as our afterlife reality and not the higher cosmos. So they say again and again, Cyrus, the best message to get across is to keep letting people know that we come from a higher supernal reality, which is absolutely majestic compared to your reality, but it's not the mental Bardo states. Second point, sometime back on Reddit, which is r/Afterlife Topics, is a channeling, which is, say, a direct correspondence with, shall we say, the man Emanuel Swedenborg. And if you go and read that article, you will actually see kind of what's going on behind the scenes with that man as he was being brought into angelic worlds. And this goes back to the 1700s, and he talks about that at length in his work, as he discusses that the higher supernal realities are actually other planets. And this is the 1700s, when he was out there postulating that we would be completely naive to assume that Earth is the only world with life on it. He was out there saying, the 1700s, championing that there is an entire other cosmos that is absolutely outstanding. And this higher cosmos is, in fact, what we would think of as a heavenly reality. And this was Swedenborg back in the 1700s, okay? So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at my article called False Light Teachings 101, What to Watch For. So below is a screenshot from a group called Freedom from Fear-Based Belief Systems. I don't want to go into all of this, but this is what set me off. This is a quote by Garnet Schulhauser, who, I've worked a bit with her in the past with the book Awakened by Death. And so look, like I say, she's a nice lady, sure, but it's the same message that comes across again and again in the New Age teachings. Basically, she says, evil on your planet is not perpetrated by demons or evil spirits because such entities do not exist. Oh boy, is she wrong. There's a whole negative evil spectrum of existence that I am taught again and again has to be combated, because we cannot lie down and pretend it does not exist. Okay, so again, evil on Earth is caused by humans who let their malevolent emotions rule their lives despite the best efforts of their souls and guides to steer them towards love and compassion. So that's correct. I totally believe that. So while there are evil humans who dish out a lot of violence on your planet, their souls are not evil in any sense. So this is the issue. It's the idea that someone's soul, so you could be Heinrich Himmler but your soul is perfect and pure, but you're just letting those negative emotions hurt you. So this goes against what we would call the basic tenets of karmic understanding of life. And when you say karma with loose terms, because karma is a term that kind of has a Hindi origin and relates to, like, people affiliate karma with, like, oh no, I have to reincarnate and do XYZ action now to make up for something I did in a past life. It's more to it than that. It's actually, when we say karma, we kind of mean the divine scales of life, the divine scales of life as we interact, and the propensity for a soul to end up becoming cancerous or metastatic. And so this is what the New Age teachings claim does not exist. They claim that Pol Pot and Mao and Stalin are all up in heaven at the pearly gates, just hanging out, having a beer. Well, they don't drink beer. They don't have any abilities to have physical experiences. I forgot. Never mind. But that's what they believe. Okay. So the major false light teachings to be aware of is the promise of no self-responsibility needed in life. Dahmer, Bundy, Gacy, Hitler, Vlad Tepes, Mao, Pol Pot are all angelic souls floating in heaven. To think otherwise means you are letting fear dominate. Evil is actually negative emotion, which means there is no evil, so the terrible things in life are not real. We can commit terrible deeds and are instantly forgiven, just like paying penance to the Catholic Church, but the new revised version of it. It means you never have to worry about self-growth. You are already perfect. So you see what this is going towards? A kind of immaturity. Because what do people not want to do? They want to lie around. They want to be told that they're already perfect. They want to be told what they want to hear. They want to be given past life readings where they get told that they're Cleopatra, that they're important, that they're special, that all these things. They want to just be told all this stuff that's going to make them feel like, I don't know, it's going to make them just feel happy. And that's what it's the feel-good culture. Look, I'm a dude who's lived in almost over 30 countries, actually. And I've seen the old world. I've seen old world cultures, and this is like a Western perversion. Because life isn't about that. Life is actually about soul growth, real soul growth. And the false light teachings are basically telling us that we are already perfect, so we do not have to do anything. We just have to be in a state of bliss and harmony, and suddenly someone's essence, if it's become metastatic, there's no such thing, because there's also no such thing as accountability. Okay? It means no cumbersome individuality. It is easier to collect into one entity, the light, to avoid conflict forever and live in an internal state of sedation. So people go off and become the light, and when they become the light, they all collectivize into one unit. And that one unit becomes this perfect, shall we say, I don't know how to explain it, becomes this perfect, shall we say, just existence where we all get to just nourish ourselves in a beautiful golden glow, and that's it. So this is actually a Bardo state. It's called a heavenly Bardo state. And it's put together originally, I was told, by Quakers, Puritans, people like that. Quakers, Puritans, and these types of people, what they do is they create in their minds their view of a perfect kind of ecclesiastic reality. It's that idea, you see, that God, it can be, God doesn't look like a guy, Yahweh, with Jehovah, with a beard on a throne. God is actually, shall we say, a great manifestation of love and light. And very much this is also Puritanism, because it's like we don't need anything else in life but God's love. And so it goes very strongly into chastity. It goes very strongly into rejecting the material, right? This influence, this religious influence, is so strong on earth. Even atheists can pass away and potentially go into a state like that. Okay, so when that teaching finds its way back to, let's say, this, that teaching finds its way back to this world, it comes with it this whole philosophy. Okay. If we release negative emotions, we release karma. This means if we hurt someone or cruel at any point, the point is to focus on the negative emotion of the guilt and let it go. So this is something, again, you hear in these same books, which is that forget about the deed, forget about the action, forget about the choices that you made. You do not have responsibility. You do not have to have accountability. It's just the negative emotions. So if you are out being cruel to somebody and you feel guilt and shame, all you have to do is get rid of the guilt and the shame, and then the cruelty is now gone. It doesn't matter what someone else thinks. Wait, this kind of sounds like, what's that Taylor Swift lyric these days that's going around? It's like something like, kind of sounds like covert narcissism disguised as altruism. Well, that's what we're looking at here. It's covert narcissism disguised as altruism, which is that a teaching that you don't have to forgive. You don't have to seek penance and forgiveness and redemption. Just let go of the negative emotion. What do you think the Archangelic Order feels about this? Oh, no. So no reason to worry about the conflict of seeking forgiveness or amends. It's about transcending the feeling in a very impersonal way. So reality is subjectively built, which means even if someone else is hurt by us, in a sense, it's a subjective creation of our minds. And finally, our last 2 points, it's okay for reality to be subjectively built because up top, all is perfect. We go to Earth to learn and grow. So if the or a Holocaust, Jewish Holocaust, Armenian Holocaust, doesn't matter. Whatever happens, we are all playing roles just to experience it. Then we return into the light. Therefore, morality itself is relative. I've toured the world. I've been to North Korea. I've been to death camps, museums. I've seen crazy stuff. The idea that everyone who's experiencing something horrible is just, I don't know how to say, everyone who's experiencing something horrible is playing a role so they get to experience what it's like to be a death camp survivor and escape from Camp 22 in North Korea. And then we can go back to the light and be full of love about our experience. This is the trite freaking garbage that I see out there in actual, shall we say, New Age bookstore aisles. Just it's absolutely incredibly just bizarre, because it's like, snap out of it, people, snap out of it. Okay, so people who are mediums communicate to hollow heavens, who almost all teach some variation of what I wrote. This is the New Age movement. In conflict are many teachers, mediums, scholars, and opposition, yet it's not organized opposition, right? I have many enemies because I call this out. This is why some people, including once friends in this community, turn tides. Because people are very passionate about this religion. Why? Because if you've done bad stuff, if you've been out embezzling people, maybe you had a high-paying job at, WorldCom, after you merged in from, I don't know, Enron, and your whole life is like that, you end up, as you get older, clinging to this because now you have no accountability. You don't have to worry about dying and having to put up with anything like that. You can just go and experience pure bliss because life was a game all along. Yeah, sinful, evil people, keep telling yourselves that because you will not get away with any of that. That's not the way the system works. Okay, major groups I'm in communication to warn that this idea can destroy the planet. This includes the Arcturian Council, the Ashtar of the Andromeda Galaxy, the Anshar of the Inner Earth, the higher density Earths, which is our true afterlife, which is where many of our deceased loved ones go, the Archangelic Order, who reside upon a planet called Shenar, the Fae of Myalinos, and of course the Aldebarans, which are another. Look, these are all ET groups, but we're talking about a higher reality. We're talking about a place that we can die on this planet, and they take our souls into the astral, into the spirit world, and they manifest us out of that plane into the higher density cosmos, where all these groups are, and they desperately try to communicate back to us down here, and with limited degrees of success. With this kind of plan, I would say this very difficult to achieve plan of shifting the planet. And shifting the planet does not happen unless the collective consciousness is on board with their arrival and the way they think and who they are. And people on Earth are so stuck in their ways, we continuously block the shift from happening. All I can tell you is that this entire global shift of mankind is, in fact, a process that has been in place for, well, it's been going on, I would say, since the Middle Ages. That's how difficult it is to allow the higher reality to come down and meet us, because the global consciousness does not accept it. So where does my work come in? Just trying to get some information out to a limited audience through these groups. Okay, so as I go on to say, there is a clear battle line. The factions are clear. You cannot be one and the other. The hollow heaven phenomenon is organized, powerful, with extremely prevalent motives and people organized by them on our Earth. Many synchronize their thoughts to soul collectives, and even still, after so many were gotten rid of. So many of these soul collectives are negative in people's minds, were actually dispersed by the Archangelic Order. People still rally together to go on the offensive and fight for this belief system, because it's what they want above all else. So much for a beautiful, fantastic adventure that awaits us all. Nope. Go into the light and disappear into a state of love and beauty and bliss. And good luck trying to get out of it, because they don't like it when people leave the light, just to let you know. So I wanted to just mention then, just to piggyback off of this, we have Vincent from Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics on Facebook, which you can go and join if you want. And Vincent was mentioning, I would assume that those people in this community have serious questions or disagreements with the view that our next life will either be in heaven utopia with harps, pearly gates, and fluffy clouds, or we'll spend eternity in hell, fire, and eternal torture. Which, again, the idea of eternal torture, that's an absurdity. And this is the other extreme. Either there's no consequences and all is heaven, or arbitrary arbitration. You're caught masturbating. Like, whatever it might be, you go to hell. This is how screwed up people on planet Earth are, okay? Robert Schwartz and his work, boy, I've mentioned him a few times, as a between lives therapist, contends in his book Soul's Gift that no matter what atrocities we commit, it is all part of the chosen roles we play, and there is no consequence to our actions. It's all a big cosmic play. So on one extreme, we spend a lifetime in hell if we fail to accept a specific dogma, and on the other extreme, there is no consequence for evil, horrific acts. Vincent says, I believe there is a reality between these two extremes. From my own reading, I feel that life is about learning to love and being more forgiving. I have read about people who have had NDEs, and in that experience is a life review in which a person sees the effect of their life choices with the consciousness of the person they have harmed or benefited. If you caused a lot of pain, the realization of all the damage you've caused can be quite traumatic. In this scenario, you would probably experience legitimate suffering for your insensitive, cruel, or ego-driven actions. Hopefully, you would recognize the mistakes you made and decide to change the course of your life. Daniel Brinkley, the author, made dramatic changes in his life because he saw the extreme pain his actions had caused. The effect of the life review made him become a death doula in a hospice, helping people with the transition to the next world. So, I believe I will experience a life review when my body ceases, and I truly hope I've caused more joy than pain. I'm sure there are other perspectives to consider. Cyrus, what do you think? So, this is actually, what I wrote is that, to me, it's a lesson of salvation and soul redemption, but it's a personal path we walk that must include extremely facing one's conscience. That's how terrifying people on Earth have sometimes found redemption beyond, and their souls change into souls that demand of themselves service to all in a long path of redemption, with once evil souls on Earth even becoming angelic in nature. This has happened, actually. This is what my communicators teach in earnest. On Earth, people resist this because they want people to pay in hellfire, even if they are redeemed, which is the wrath part of the 7 deadly sins. Then the other half of extreme misguided philosophies is Rob Schwartz, whose ideas I am told are so awful they cause untold damage to society. So those are my main points. So it's a lot to go over. Again, I don't exactly make friends in this work because these are sacred cows. I get death threats. I get people coming after me. I get planned opposition, planned operations to silence my voice. I've had stalkers. I've had personal investigators following me. I've had my main account hacked. I've basically been constantly running from so many people who want me to shut up. And I do not even have a very big audience because people do not want this cult to have its, let's say, have its bubble popped. They do not want that. They want to live in the false light teachings that there are no consequences for our actions, and I will never give up. Why? Because I work for the Archangelic Order, and I'm going to keep getting messages out there of how we can actually become a unified, loving, higher reality and join that reality. That's what I care about. That's been my mission my entire life. So, all I can tell you is that I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And if you like this work, please subscribe to the channel because there's been a lot of effort to kick me off YouTube and do whatever they can to make me shut up because I'm not going to shut up. There's evil forces in the world who love these philosophies as well. It's even very much a cabal approved way of thinking about life. And I'm just going to keep going. So with that, what I can tell you is, so you're watching The Cosmic Shift. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, which is at Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics, which is the name of our old community on YouTube. But it's still very active, as well as Reddit, r/Afterlife Topics, where there's some very, 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 very interesting, shall we say, reddit.com/Afterlife Topics. So check it out. Communications with Archangel Diodara, or Diodara, depending on how you pronounce the name, the ongoing fate of planet Earth, and the false light teaching. So this is a very, very interesting article to check out. This is a channeled image from her, and this is one of, shall we say, this is one of her messages, basically, concerning this topic. And I covered some of this before, but it's worth checking out again. And so you can find all these articles and more at the Reddit page. Okay. So with that said, thank you for watching this, and I'll talk to you next time.